everybody, I'm wishing you guys all a fantastic day, and we're going to do another Let's Paint video, so let's go ahead and let's have some fun. I got me another canvas panel. It's a 18 by 24 inch, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to get this thing a layer of gesso, and we're going to throw down some paint, and we're going to see what we can do. I kind of got a couple ideas on my reference picture that I want to do. I just don't know how going about doing it yet. But hey, you know what? We're winging it. That's what I always like to do, because I think a lot of stuff, you know, that comes out the best is when I just don't really think about it. I just kind of wing it. So let's roll. I'm going to go ahead and start off with my weapon of choice. This is the gesso. This is what I'm going to use to prime my canvas so my paint sticks really well. And I got me a little spongy brush here that I'm going to spread it around with. And I got me a little cup. I got this from Wendy's. When you order a chili and you get onions, this is what it comes with. So I always just save them and just keep reusing them. So I got my canvas all primed and it's ready for some paint. And what I'm thinking is I'm going to use this black here. I got a little bit left over, so I'm going to use a flat black on the whole thing. And I think what I'm going to do is, I've never done this before, but I got some flat white here, got a little bit in the can still. And I think I'm just going to kind of hit and miss a couple areas with the white, just kind of, you know, just spray it on, give it kind of like a little bit of a textured look. But I will show you my reference picture that I'm kind of after, and you know, we'll see what we can do. Okay, so I got you looking at my TV, and this is the reference picture that I want to do. And you kind of see like some of the white right here, a lot here up on top of his head, and then, you know, some of it right here behind his arm. That is kind of what I'm after. That's kind of what I want to do with the white paint. I just kind of want to feather it in and around the canvas. And, you know, who knows? I might stumble on something new and something cool. So it's worth a shot. Let's keep going. So here's what it looks like when it's all painted. I had a ton of fun putting the black down and then putting this white overspray over top of it with the spray paint. Having like the white kind of fold over onto the picture, it actually almost gives it like a fog or a haze, kind of gives it more of a creepy feel to it. But I love it. You know, I'm gonna have to do some more, you know, paintings with, you know, adding 2 kinds of spray paints or adding a 3rd color. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get the drawing on here. I got me a white Prismacolor pencil, and I was thinking that I might just use the projector and just beam it on here, and then I can show you guys how I do a drawing with using the projector. So I just went ahead and turned on my projector. It's right back behind me. So I got the picture all nicely fitted in the way I want, and I got my white pencil, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm just going to kind of give a little bit of an outline of all the white areas. I just want all the highlights, don't want any of the dark areas. I'm just going to pick out all the highlights with my white pencil. So here is a basic blueprint of the highlights, all these white areas here that I kind of traced around. So now I will just go ahead and I'll get the airbrush. I got it all cleaned out. I got my white paint already pre-mixed, and I will probably start with the hardest area just to get that out the way. That's just how I like to paint. So my hardest area and the main focal point is going to be his face. So I'm just going to go ahead and start chopping away at that, and then the rest will just get easier as it goes. So, yeehaw! this is what I got so far. It's looking really good. I do have a couple mistakes here on his face, especially right here on his eyebrow. He kind of looks like he's got the Rock eyebrow going on. But that's totally cool because we're going to go back in and we're going to fix some of this with the black here later on. But I want to stop here. I'm pretty comfortable doing this a little bit later, but I want to jump down here and do his arm. I kind of like to jump around on the canvas and kind of work some areas. So, yep, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to start blocking this in, and we'll keep on going. So basically what I'm doing is I'm just going over all the pencil marks that I did from the projector. So that is all the highlights, and I'm just running it over with the airbrush with the white. I'll show you on my computer of what this kind of looks like. So this is my reference picture. So this is all I'm doing is just kind of going in and brightening his eye up here. I got his nose, I got the inside of his mouth here, and now we're just working down his arm here. So we're just going over all our pencil marks. Not too bad, not too bad. We got the left arm here started. I'm going to take a break from that. We're going to move on up here to the right arm, and we're going to do the exact same thing as we did here. We're just going to fill in all these little white areas here. And then I'm going to probably switch back over and start reworking his face, getting a little bit more details and highlights brought out. So we got a little bit of a blueprint of the white laid down. So we got some nice guidelines here. I got the black already pre-mixed here. and I got about a 50-50 mix with the black and the reducer. The white I went really light on. That's a 1 to 10 mix ratio. We're going to go ahead and start right here on the front of his face. There's a lot of black areas that need to be really dark, so that's where I'm going to start out at. I turned off my music real quick, and I figured I'd go ahead and let you listen to how I paint. I just leave the air down all the time, and then if I want paint, I just kind of bump the trigger back. So I'm just going to go ahead and I figure I'll let you listen to what it sounds like when I'm painting by having the air pushed down all the time. It kind of makes everything a lot smoother, and you can work a lot faster. So here we go. I'm going to drop down here and we're going to do his arm the exact same way as I did his face. So we're going to pick out all these really dark areas. When I was laying down the black, I did go over a lot of this white here, so it is totally cool because that's exactly what I wanted to do. It would take me a lot longer if I took the black and I went around all of this white. So I just went kind of over top of it, and I can always go back in with the white, and then I'll just run back over all of these highlights here, and then I'll just brighten them up. So that's just kind of a faster way for me to lay down some dark areas, is just to kind of paint over some of the highlighted areas, and then I can always go back in with the white and just re-brighten them back up. I did do a little bit of off-camera painting, just right here on the on his face. Mostly the right side. I did fill in his eye a little bit, so I just kind of picked up a little bit of these highlights here around the horns. Kind of filled in a couple of these other little details. His nose, and then up here got this kind of straightened out a little bit better. But I'm still using the over-reduced white, a 1:10 mix ratio, and I figure I'm going to go ahead and we're going to pick up here on the left side, and we're going to start getting this filled in so we can have both sides here looking good before I call it a night and I go to bed. So let's keep going. I think I'm going to take a break from airbrushing, and I want to use a paintbrush just for a little bit, and I figure I will go ahead and dip it straight into the bottle, and I want to get this little whip that he's got in his hand, and I'm going to see if I can get it as bright as I can get it, just so it'll look like it's glowing. I'm done painting with the paintbrush. That's all I wanted to add right now. And I got the airbrush loaded back up with the 50/50 black. And there's a bunch of black that I need to lay in the picture. So I'm just going to go ahead and breeze through it real quick. Who says you can't use 2 gel pens at one time? Well, that was fun. I'm going to go ahead and do 1 gel pen right now. I haven't perfected using 2, so I will get some good practice in, and maybe later. But yep, I'm going to go ahead and use just 1 gel pen, and we're going to go in and we're going to add some highlights throughout the picture. So I just got this box in the mail today, and it is some paint. This is the Wicked UV Glow Base. It's 8 ounces, so hopefully here in the next couple videos I'll be playing around with some of this. And I also got some candy. This is Tequila Yellow. And I got another candy. This is Lemon Yellow. And I figure I would go ahead and use my Blood Red here that I had. And I'm going to use all 3 of these colors in my painting right now, here coming up. And a while back, I picked me up some of this, I think it's graffiti paint. This is a gloss acrylic spray paint. It is in fluorescent green, so that will glow under the UV pretty good. And I got me a fluorescent pink. So I figured, you know, I kind of mess around with some of this and see what kind of painting that I can come up with under the black light. So this area right here I have not even touched yet, and we need to put some fire, some flames coming out. So I got me my white Prismacolor pencil, and I'm going to kind of loosely sketch in a couple fireball looking things here, and then we're going to switch over to the airbrush. We're going to fill it in, and then I'm going to go back in with my paintbrush, and we're gonna get the real hot areas, just like we did on the whip. So yeah, easy peasy. Let's go. I just want to let everybody know that I am no flame airbrush painting expert. I really have not done a whole lot of work with flames and stuff like that. So cut me a little slack, please. But I'm going to try my absolute best to make these things look really, really cool. So I want to go back to using the paintbrush, and just like I did on the whip right here, I want to do the brightest area first, so that's going to be the hottest part. And yeah, and I like using the paintbrush, so I'm always looking for an excuse to use it. So let's paint some flames. So I have not worked on this for about 2 weeks or so. The last thing I did was a little bit of the flame up here. It didn't actually come out too bad. For me as a beginner, and I don't really know a whole lot about painting flames and fire and stuff like that, you know, for basically a first timer, it's pretty cool. So that's all I want. So there's a lot of improvements that I can make, you know, with that. And I do want to get really, really good at doing flames and stuff because I think it's kind of cool. And it's useful, especially in this piece. It would look, you know, really, really cool to have, you know, a professional flame. But you know what? I'm not a professional. I'm still learning, and I have lots more to learn. So, but I'm happy with it. You know, I'm thrilled. I like the way it came out. Before I start painting, I'm going to go ahead and switch out the airbrush. Instead of me using the custom Micron, I'm going to go ahead and use this one. This is the High Line from Iwata. So I already cleaned the whole thing and I put it all back in here. So then when I get ready to use it, I just reassemble it and it's good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take you through me putting it all back together and we're going to start shooting some paint. So the first thing I got is this pipe thread tape, also known as Teflon tape. Go ahead and cut me off a little piece. Just like this. Now I'm going to go ahead and stretch it a little bit. About like that. Place it on there and I'm going to wrap in a clockwise. Just like that. So now I got the whole tip sealed up and I won't have any air leaks. Here is some beeswax. I got me an X-Acto knife, so I just scoop out just a little bit. About that much. Here is the needle nozzle. And I got my X-Acto blade and I got some of the beeswax on the tip. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it right a little bit past the threads. So more towards the top. And then I'm just going to kind of roll my fingers. So it looks sort of like this. And you can tell I have a little bit of a gap right there. So I got me a little bit more. And we're just going to fill the gap. Just like that. And I use the heat from my fingers. It kind of warms it up and gives it a nice seal. So I got the beeswax on there and it looks a little bit like this when I got it all nice and sealed up. I'm going to thread on the needle nozzle. Just like this. Now we're going to tighten it. See how I got a little bit of excess beeswax that kind of came out of the sides there? I'm just going to take my finger and just rotate it around. So we're just going to clean it up. Just like that. I got the trigger now. I got this little groove here. It's kind of like a little indentation, and then the front side doesn't have anything. So what I want to do is make this part face the back. And I just want to put it in sideways, twist, and drop it right down. Whee! So it looks like that. So now we're going to go ahead and put this piece in. I'm just going to kind of push it right on in there. And put the spring on. And then follow it up with the back piece here. Just kind of screw it on in there. And next I put the cap on. So we got the tip and the nozzle nicely sealed up, and I'm going to go ahead and drop in my needle. So do this very slow, and then you can kind of push the trigger down just to make sure everything slides in there real smooth. And you'll see it go through the cup and right out the front. Just kind of give it a little tappy. I think this is called the chucking nut, I believe. I'm just gonna go ahead and drop that on. And we're just gonna tighten. And voila. This back piece right here, if you tighten this all the way in, it puts tension on the spring and it makes the trigger a lot stiffer. So what I like to do, this is just me and it's just a personal preference, I like to back it till it's about flush with the back here, and that makes the trigger really easy and it softens the spring. So it doesn't take a lot of effort to pull back for paint. So since I have it all the way back here, there is no threads on the inside for me to put this back piece on because it just won't screw in. I just paint with no back piece. So that's just what I like to do, and everybody's different. So if you have an airbrush just like this and you like to, you know, have the spring really stiff and you like to put the back piece on, then you're free to do that. My last thing, I'm just going to go ahead and put this moisture trap on. It gives it a real nice handle to hold, so it just kind of fits really comfortably in my hand, and I got really used to having this on here. And me putting this all back together, that was just a personal preference. Everybody has their own different way of cleaning and taking it apart and putting it all back together. So this is just my 2 cents on putting it all back together. So there is no wrong way as long as you get, you know, a little bit of cleaning and a little bit of maintenance and stuff like that. So this thing keeps on functioning pretty a-okay. That is exactly what you're wanting. Yeah, we are ready to rock and roll. Oh, and I'll show you one last thing. Let me take this moisture trap off. You see these 2 little square looking things right there? If you get some tweezers, I got me some tweezers and I kind of filed the ends down so they're really sharp. They will go right on in there. And if you turn it clockwise, you stiffen the trigger spring. So it's a lot harder to push down. And then if you turn it the other way, counterclockwise, it loosens it. So it makes it a little bit easier to push down. I think we're ready to start painting. So I got my air compressor turned back on. I did make a little bit of a batch of white paint. I just made just a little bit enough to finish this picture. But I probably got around a 40% paint and 60% reducer, so I got a little bit of a thicker paint and I cranked the air up just a little bit more just to push out the heavier paint. So I think I'm just going to work through this picture and we're going to add a little bit here and there, and then we're going to jump on in and use some of the candies here. Yes! I am totally happy the way it came out. I think it looks awesome black and white. But the whole reason that I wanted to do this picture, I wanted to do them in candies afterwards. So I think it's going to be a little extra cooler when I get in there and I do that. But first, I want to point out some of the different things that I did between this and looking at the reference picture. One different thing is I added this little smoke swirl here coming off the whip. So it kind of gives it some movement. So that's not in the reference picture, but I thought it would be kind of cool to add that little swirl in there. I did use the toothbrush, and I kind of gave it some splatter effects around here on the whip. So that wasn't in the reference picture. I did take the toothbrush and do a whole lot of splatter effects up here. The flame looks totally different than the reference picture, so I'm pretty cool. I'm pretty excited the way it still came out. Like I said, I still got a lot of improvement with making fire. And I picked up a new color. This is a new candy color. I just got it today, and it is Grabber Orange. So I made me a little bit of a demo color test sheet here that I sprayed all the 4 colors that I'm going to be using. So I got the lemon yellow, I got the tequila yellow, and I got the Grabber Orange, and then I got the blood red. So looking at the sheet, I went ahead and I sprayed each color. So this is the lemon yellow. This looks sweet in person. It doesn't look cool on the camera just because it's kind of washed out. But dude, this color looks actually all the colors I'm completely obsessed with, and I love them. I'm gonna be using tequila yellow, and then Grabber Orange, and then blood red. And this right here, I didn't do no reducing. I sprayed it straight out of the bottle. So these are the colors just as is. I kind of have an idea of how I want to go about doing this. I want to start off with lemon yellow, and I want to do the brightest area, so the whitest part. So I want to start on his flame, and then I want to go on to his little whip here, and right here on the center of his mouth. So that's going to be lemon yellow, and then I want to move on down to tequila yellow and do some of the in-between areas. Just to kind of give it some 3-dimensional effects going on, just so it's not all yellow or lemon yellow. It's got a little bit of a tequila yellow. And then I got me an orange. That's going to go somewhere in there. So I don't really know where. I'm just going to kind of wing it and just see where that all takes me. And then I got my blood red. And my blood red, I'm hoping that the black is kind of light enough for the red to go in and you can see it. So I just want to do all the dark areas right here in the red. So fingers crossed that this stuff all kind of works out. And you know what? It's just kind of practice, and we're demonstrating and, you know, seeing what's up. But you don't know until you try. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to rock and roll. So I want to talk real quick and explain what I'm going to do and what I've noticed. On a black surface, I didn't add any white, so it's just pretty much a solid black here and all the stuff on here on his face. So what I did is I did the orange here on the face, that was all the black here, and then I did a little bit of a test spray down here with the red, just right here where his arm is, and it looks pretty close. It's almost identical when you have a black surface and you spray over the red, and then you have another black surface and you spray the orange. So comparing them side by side, they are pretty close. You can't even really hardly tell. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the red out, and we're just going to do the orange for all the dark black areas and all the shadows. I got you moved in closer just to kind of show you. So here is his face. This was all the black. This was all the orange right here, and then this little spot down here is the red. I kind of figured that it would look the same as far as being an orange and a red on a black surface, you know. But I was just kind of, you know, messing around and playing with it and seeing what it looks like. But as far as on paper, there's a huge noticeable difference. But, you know, this is on white paper and, you know, this is on black. So it is a little bit different. So just kind of FYI, just kind of putting it out there. And we're learning, we're experimenting, and we're still having fun. So let's keep rolling. So I will be clear coating this with my paint gun here very soon. It's probably going to take me another couple more months or so. I'm still ordering a couple pieces that I'm missing to get the whole air compressor and everything in my garage set up for a paint booth. So yeah, I will definitely make a video of me shooting some clear on this thing and seeing how it turns out. So I figured I'd take you guys with me on that. And yeah, so I'm just gonna go ahead and hold off on the clear coat, and we're gonna do it all later here in the next couple months. So it should be fun. almost done with this whole thing, but there is one more thing I'd like to try. I don't know if it's going to work. It could backfire and be a bad thing, and I might end up having to, you know, try to fix some things, but it's worth a try. So I was sitting here and I was looking at the picture, and I like to kind of get a glow on his eye, and then these little cinders, I like to brighten a couple of them up that's close to his mouth. So I was thinking, I can't take the white and paint over top of the candy because it'll just spread and it'll freak out on me. I did that kind of on the Venom painting. So I was thinking if I use a transparent base, if I kind of lay that in around the picture of where I want to add the white and kind of brighten it up, and then I can go back in with the candy, lemon yellow, and it'll kind of give it a little bit of a glow. So that's what I'm thinking, and I like to kind of push and see where that takes me. Sometimes it could pay off and it's really cool, sometimes it doesn't, but I won't know until I try, so we're just gonna go ahead and we're gonna do it, and we're gonna hope for the best. We got a winner! I think it came out really cool. Hopefully you guys like it just as much as I do. I'm totally happy with the eyes now, because if I didn't do that, then I would always have that in the back of my mind that I want to see what would happen and how it would look. So I'm glad that I went over it with the transparent base, and then I did the white just so the candies and stuff didn't bleed all over the place, so kind of got a little bit of a highlight, and then went back over it with the lemon yellow candy. So it's got a really cool looking eerie glow in the eyes, and then you got these little cinders here coming out his mouth to kind of brighten it up a little bit. So I think wrapping this picture up, I think it came out really awesome, and I loved every bit of it. I had so much fun doing the whole piece black and white. I had a total blast doing it all in candy. And you know what? I've learned some stuff along the way that I didn't think that I would learn. So that's a plus. And yeah, all in all, I had a ton of fun. So all I gotta do is sign my name, and we'll take some pictures, and hopefully you guys had a great time. So until the next video, I will be back, and we will have some more painting fun. Oh, yeah! So thanks everybody for watching, and I'll see you guys later.